Hi, welcome to the small shed. This week I'm getting the shed itself tidy. See you in a minute. Now, as you'll have probably seen on the video I did on beginning of the year, when I came back from the holidays over Christmas, walked back into the shed and it's in absolute chaos. So I think it's time to start those 3 or 4 days of work that I was talking about and have a look, see if we can't get a bit of order into this place. Right, day 2 of the big clear up. I'm starting to get somewhere, although it doesn't look like it at the moment. I've certainly given a bit of a clean around to get some of the dust out of the corner over there. What I've done though is to take the unit out from that corner and move it round to where I have had it before. It's got advantages and disadvantages really. The disadvantages being that I can't get at that cupboard very easily and I can't get at the clamps very easily, but the advantages are I can use it as an extra workbench, I can get the planer out far more easily, and it frees up a bit of room in that corner that is more accessible. Forget this unit for the moment, because if I put a wall cupboard up, a lot of the stuff in there will go into that wall cupboard. So a lot of that space, the drill press down there has got to go, so that will be space as well. So it's freed up a bit of space in that corner, and I can get at that wall to put a big unit in to keep tools in up there. So we'll see how we go. I'm going to live with it for a day or two, carry on doing what I'm doing at the moment, and see where it goes from there, but it's a starting point. Day 4, I think it is anyway, I'm not sure now, I've lost track a bit, but I think I'm getting somewhere reasonably well now. I'm thinking it would be a great idea to put that trolley there over in that corner, but I tried it out, I took all the clamps off and it still didn't really work properly. And of course, if I'm going to put the drill press and the sander on top of it, that would block up this cupboard, which is probably the most used cupboard in the shed. So I've changed my mind on that one and put it all back together again. The sanding downdraft table that was underneath the sander I've left over there because it doesn't get used. I mean, I was talking about dealing with dust, but I never actually used that because the sander was on top of it, and that's got its own dust extraction. So I'm going to start and use that if I'm doing any hand sanding, or even with the palm sanders or anything, to have that downdraft sucking the stuff into it. So that's over there and can be used as at the moment as a bit of a side table. But during the course of the morning I've come to the conclusion that I've been getting this wrong for probably 5 or 6 years, since we first moved into the shed, when it was probably easier to move because I've got less stuff. But I realised that the secret to all of this is to not have anything at either end, which I've had in the past. Ignore that unit at the moment. The intention is that when I start and move on to other storage, that will go. But one of the problems I've always had is you've always got an odd corner that you can't get at things in. For example, I couldn't get at those boxes now. Previously I couldn't get at the thickness planer, whereas today I've just pulled it out, used it, swept up and put it away in about half an hour. So that is now already becoming usable. Putting the vacuum in that corner there is fine, but again I can get at it quite easily once we clear up some of this mess and use some of the bits of wood that are there. And it's the same at the other end now. I can ignore again that one, which is a project in progress which will be going shortly, but I can get at both these boxes, which I couldn't get at before when they were tucked in the middle down there. And I can still open all the screws and machinery drawers there. So effectively just having two rows, one either side, and nothing at the ends has given me a lot longer means of getting at tools and things, and so I can come right down the end here to do sanding or drilling, or even pick the machines up and put them over on the bench. I can now see the bench for the first time in a few weeks, and as I say, although there's a couple of things to go back into the house as project stuff, we are pretty much there. I've had a good sweep round. I haven't swept under this unit yet. That's the one thing that's still a mess, but we'll get round to that one. But I really am starting to feel quite positive today. What I'm starting to measure now is where I can put cupboards. I think I've got a standard size for width of 750mm, which is about the size of that one, and a front to back depth of around 250mm, which is bringing it out to somewhere like this. I can get away with plenty on that wall because all that you do is bury some of the big tall clamps a bit, but I don't think that'll be a problem. So I'm going to have one unit there. I think I'm then going to put another unit very similar but shorter there, and that will be exactly the same as one which I'm going to put over there. Obviously that'll be the one that doesn't get used much because of all the equipment in front of it, but I think I need somewhere to put obscure things like that, which are router bits that I'm not likely to use very often, but whenever I do, it's useful to have them. Lathe bits, supplies, things like that can go over there without any great fuss. This one is quite accessible as long as I keep it relatively clear of the table like that, and again that wants to be tidied up a bit, but I think we'll have a nice new unit with, you know, oak or sapele or something made out of. So we've got some projects to be going on with for that, and now I also want to have a look at dust extraction, because clearly I was using the planer today. I've just plugged the vacuum into it. It left very little mess, very little cleaning up. If I can do the same with particularly that and the sander and the router table, leave them permanently plumbed in, I'm going to have another go at getting permanent plumbing going. Now I started with the ducting previously around the skirting bathroom duct, but it was too great a cross section for the little vacuum I've got to deal with. It's all to do with high pressure low volume or high volume low pressure extracting and that, but what I'm going to do, I think, is stick with 40mm or 50mm as a pipe size, and probably just run a couple of pieces around from the vacuum to be able to access at benches round here, so I can connect up all the machinery as and when I want to, and get some blast gates printed off in 3D printed, which will be useful. But that's the next thing to have a think about. I've now got a clear bench. I can get on making a couple more of these boxes that I've been doing the first trial run with that one. And indeed it's not yet finished, but I do think I've actually got a better workflow now in this setup, so we'll try it for a bit and see how we get on with it. I've also got the space over there that I don't know yet. What I'm thinking is that the planes that are over there will probably be better in a cupboard in here, so they'll be covered, if you like. And it may well be that I'll put the chisels in there as well, because they're things I use a lot more. Screwdrivers may be over there, because I use them less. We'll see, I'm not sure, but I can have a slightly thinner cabinet over there. It needs to be less than the reveal on the window over there in depth, but it would be nice to have something there that I could just access, but I can close up when I'm not using it, and keep things a bit tidier and cleaner. So we've had a bit of a tidy up, and the place is beginning to look something like a proper working shed again now. In fact, it's probably better than it's ever been, if truth be told. I've got some of these boxes that I've been making for railway engines, but I've got a couple of problems with one of them. I need to get the timber that I've got at the bottom and the top, need to get that thickness, and I need to get the ends run through and rebaited with a router bit. And because I've done most of them by hand with the little pull saw, I need to cut these pieces of timber down lengthways, and I've got a couple of very big ones on that rather than do it by pull saw, I think I'm going to do it through the circular saw this time. So hopefully we'll see if we can actually get the place working and get all those operations done without too much chaos. Right, so there we are. We've gone from getting the planer out, using it, using the router, putting that away, getting the circular out and using that in about half an hour, which is something that I'd never done before, purely and simply because I've got a bit more access, a bit more floor space. Right, well, I call that a success. We've got the place tidy-ish. It's still not perfect. There's still too many projects in here, but even today I've managed to get some of these boxes glued up, and I've just finished doing, as you've seen, the work to get the other one glued up. And I've got a shed that I can happily just get a machine out, use it and put it away again, whereas before it was a half a day's job just to get to see it. So I'm quite happy that things are working on that score. So hopefully now we can get on and get some more projects built. Hope you enjoyed the video. Look forward to seeing you next time in the shed when we'll hopefully be doing something different. See you then. Bye.